thank the partners, and I'd like to thank all of our employees who are participating, and in addition, our sponsors. And we'll talk a little bit about some of them later. But welcome everybody, and let's dive in. So one of the things that we want to do early is this is going to, if you're used to this from prior BB Dev Days, this is a bit of an interactive experience. This is not just about you showing up and being talked at. This is very much about the experience we build together. And one of the ways that we do that is through interactive polls. So we wanted to get this kind of out of the way now, get you all into Slido, give you a chance to experience what this is going to be like, because you are going to be using Slido quite a bit throughout BB Dev Days. There's going to be polls. We have session surveys, which I'll talk about a little bit later, DJ music trivia, and there will be prizes. And some of those prizes I will speak about a little later. So if you could, you can either use your phone, scan the QR code. If you want, you can open up a new tab. You can go to slido.com and join BB Dev Days. We will shortly have a poll that will come up, but we'll give you a little bit to get there. All right.
And also go to the main stage room when you get there.
Yes, and to go to the main stage room. When you go to Slido and you enter BB Dev Days, it will land you in a position with a number of different rooms. You will want to go to main stage. So why are we here? Well, it all began 11 plus years ago, and it all originally started with Blackbaud CRM. So we must kind of pay homage to where we have been and what started all of this. And what started as an experience around Blackbaud CRM customers and a very technical set of criteria has shifted and evolved over time to something that now is available to low-code developers, no-code developers. And it's something as well that is a little bit of a different tone than you see from something like BBCon. It's a little bit more informal. I've got my BB Dev Days t-shirt on. It's also very heavily client-led and client showcase. This is really about everything that the collective is doing. It's not just about what Blackbaud is doing. But there is a tremendous amount of participation from Blackbaud and from customers. You have access to Blackbaud developers, you have access to thought leaders, and we're excited that what started 11 years ago has built to become the 1,500 plus event and more that we're going to talk about. So if we go to the next slide, if you happen to see any of these founders around, this is the group who helped start this 11 plus years ago. So I'll give my own little kind of round of applause. Thank you very much for getting this started. It's really built from this to the massive event it is now. And everybody who participates shapes what this experience is and what this experience becomes. So thank you all very much. So I mentioned we're going to have a little Slido practice. And so if you've joined, you should now see a poll that is jumping up in your tab in your phone, and you should be able to now enter some information for where you're joining us from today. And we're going to start to see those things pop up.
It's working.
It's working.
Yes.
It's got a good contingent in Boston, Charleston. Let's see who's taking the lead. It's like a race.
Farthest away might be India and Sydney.
Sydney, yeah, I see Sydney there. That's amazing. So what we're doing right now inside Slido, while this is kind of a very open and word cloud, there's a lot of different polls and experiences you'll see. Sometimes it'll be multiple choice, but this is one of the ways that we're going to interact and drive conversations in the sessions. So thank you very much for giving it a try here. Oh, Toronto has come out of nowhere and is now representing. Excellent. Well, we've got a great rounded out set of places here from not only the US, but internationally as well, which is great. So thank you very much. So moving on to the next slide. This What you just saw, what you just saw in kind of the diversity of locations, we wanted to break that down a little bit in case you were feeling like, am I alone? Am I the only person at this conference who might be in my own situation? Well, take a look at this chart. This has shifted dramatically over the years. What used to be a very code intensive has now expanded, and the majority, 63% of these 1,900 registrants are now low code, no code specialists. And that's really a great mark to see not only how this program has grown, but how technology has continued to evolve to lower the barrier of entry so that more and more people have accessibility to be able to solve solutions themselves. And you don't necessarily have to have a degree in computer science. While that's great, and that was my degree, you do not have to have a computer science degree in order to participate and build solutions and solve problems. The other thing that's worth calling out here, 55% of folks have identified as women. That is the highest ever. And if you look at those kinds of stats compared to other conferences, I think you will as well see that is dramatically shifted and higher than what you see elsewhere. And I love the diversity that we have at this conference. So thank you, everyone, because these measures are marks of inclusivity in the community. You don't get to these kinds of numbers without the community being accepting and inclusive of all these different types of individuals. Next slide. So if you have not had a chance, this is a great opportunity to go up and click your little image and avatar and put in your name. And if you feel so inclined, you can put in some additional information. You can put in which organization you're from. You can put in your pronouns. You can do anything you'd like there to express yourself. And that's a great way for you to be able to find other people and for other people to be able to find you. So if you haven't already done that, that's something you can do at any time. All right. So BB Dev Days. Let's talk about this for a moment. So this started as a single event. It occurred at a single point of time, but it's grown, and it's grown so much. It is no longer just an event on a day. It's a movement. And everybody who is participating, everybody who will be watching this recording later, everybody is part of this movement. And your feedback specifically is what has grown and shifted this conference over time. We take a lot of feedback from what people enjoy, and we start to cater the agenda and the tracks to those kinds of areas over time. And so what started as a conference now, we have user groups. You can go and join the community. Outside of BB Dev Days, the day itself, there are educational webinars. We have workshops. We have skill labs. There's developer challenges. We've added things like innovation grants. You can go search for things in the marketplace. So BB Dev Days has expanded beyond just a single day, and it's now more of a brand than it's been. And so we really want to see everybody here think about all the ways that they can participate and really make this experience unique to yourself and what you want for your organization, because there are so many options available. So thank you all, because this would not have grown to what it is without everybody here participating. So let's talk about what some of the differences are going to be this year. So first, open format. If you've attended BB Dev Days in the past, you'll notice that there used to be product-specific tracks, and that's not a thing this year. And so why is that? That's because as technology has continued to evolve, a couple things have happened. We have expanded some of our technology, like Sky API, to cover more and more products. So sessions are more product agnostic than they used to be. And in addition, there's topics like data privacy and AI, which transcend specific products. And so as we've reached the tipping point where more content is applicable to everyone than where we've been in the past. And so as a result, we have much more of an open format this year where you can really get out and explore some of the different sessions and opportunities. Second, more products. Since we last met last year, those additional products have joined the Sky API family. Blackbaud CRM, All True. So now the Sky API reach and sessions and discussions around the technology are applicable to a much broader set of an audience than they were before. And so also welcome to the Blackbaud CRM and the All True product lines into the Sky API family. There are more awards than ever. So while we had a number of awards last year, we have more this year, up to and including 8. And that includes partners and staff. And so this is something that was a fantastic experience last year. We kind of kicked it off, and it's back, and it's bigger than ever this year. And one of the things that's very, very, very important, and all of you have a role in, is as you visit sessions throughout your couple of days, it's very important that you consider filling out surveys after the fact, because the 3 top-rated sessions get the golden ticket to show up at BBCon. And so this is we'll have our best Simon Cowell, Linton Myers award these on the last day of the conference. So you'll find out who wins before we all head home. But this is a way that your direct feedback is going to really show up for 3 top-rated sessions and get them golden tickets to BBCon. So bigger community. One last thing I want to hit before we move. Thank you. Is I mentioned before that that without the tracks, it's a much more open format. But in addition to kind of building and making it more inclusive, we've also offered an additional free tier so that people who are just interested and want to poke around have the ability to do that. So it's really, we've made a couple of big changes this year, and hopefully you all like the changes. But if you don't, please give us feedback. Fill out those surveys. All right. So I would be remiss if we did not spend a moment to thank our sponsors. This would not be possible without some of our premier sponsors. So thank you very much to Ask Genius, Brightbind Solutions, Crowdbotics, Microsoft, NP Automate, and Print Your Cause, and the rest of our sponsors as well. Thank you all very much. Everyone should go to the expo hall and check out the sponsors and see what kind of products and solutions they offer. And I mentioned this a little bit before, but I'm going to hit it again now. The surveys are very important, because not only do they get feedback to sessions themselves, but they help us direct the future of the conference. And so understanding the topics and the content that you find relevant is very, very important. And in addition, there's the side benefit of you all choosing the 3 top-rated sessions who are going to get the golden tickets to BBCon in Denver. I saw at least one person pop up earlier saying they're Denver. So we want to get some session participants to Denver as part of the golden tickets. All right. So with that, we want to move on to the next part of the kickoff, which includes a discussion with a number of different thought leaders inside Blackbaud about customer success, about partner success, and about outcomes. So before we get to them, I think we have a question to ask, which would mean go to the next slide. There we go.
Sorry. Oh, it's
so that's all right. So we are. So we have a new Slido up. There's a new question for everyone to take a look at and answer. Why don't you head to the next slide, Kathy? Thank you very much. What does Blackbaud mean by outcomes? There's a lot of choices here. You have a good experience using Blackbaud software. You raise more money using Blackbaud software. An effective partnership with Blackbaud ensures your team operates efficiently. You achieve organizational objectives that led you to choose our software. Or all of the above. And it looks like we might not have fooled anybody. This is the classic trick, all of the above. But let's talk a little bit more about outcomes. So why don't we go one more slide and we will talk a little bit about who we have with us here today. I would like to introduce my friends here. I have with me Paige Bullington, Dan Keyworth, Liz Price, Brandon Winchester, and Emma Harris. And so this covers between customer success, engineering, and partners. We've got a plethora of people here, and we are going to be here to talk about outcomes. So with that, I'm going to kick this off a little bit. And maybe, Dan, I'm going to ask you the first question. I'm going to ask you the question that we just asked everybody. How does Blackbaud define outcomes, and why is it so critical?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I mean, so yeah, absolutely. Outcomes are our customers' core objectives, their core priorities. And whether you're a charity, an education institution, a grant-making foundation, a corporation, outcomes are the business impact and ultimately the mission impact that our customers want to have. It's why we do what we do, to drive social impact. And of course, it is different for every organization. The focus might be to raise more funds, to admit more students, to drive more good from the awards you're granting, and of course, many more examples. But wherever possible, it's measurable. It's that's dollars or number of people or number of donations. And at the very highest level, we think at Blackbaud about 4 core business needs that we see our customers trying to achieve: raise resources, manage operations, deliver programs, measure impact. And data and technology, they're a key enabler to those things. They're a means, but they're not actually an end. You use technology, you use data, you use systems, you use processes to ultimately help you do those things better so that ultimately you can drive those outcomes. And at Blackbaud, what we're doing now is we're focusing on how our products, our capabilities can enable those outcomes, overcoming the challenges that you've got and providing you the tools to be successful. And we've now got an outcomes map that's transcending all our Blackbaud teams, all of us, to guide on how we're delivering you the best outcomes and ensuring we bring you that value. And of course, that includes all of our developer tools and our marketplace, because this incredible global developer and partner community is playing a really key role in how we both enable and accelerate customer outcomes.
Okay, thank you. Paige, I'm going to ask you the same question. I want to hear what you have to say about that. How do you think Blackbaud defines outcomes? What would you add to what Dan just said?
I was going to say, I won't say exactly what Dan just said. I don't have a lot to contradict what Dan said, but what I would just add to that is it's what's important to our customers. It's when you decide to partner with Blackbaud for a solution, whether it's CRM, whether it's to manage grants, it's analytics. To me, it's really, what is it you're hoping to achieve? And that really, I think, is at the core of how we define outcomes. It's not what's important to Blackbaud. To us, what's important is we deliver on those outcomes. And I think Dan nailed sort of the 4 key ones that we coalesce around, but it really is at the heart of why you've selected a Blackbaud solution or service, or you're working with a Blackbaud partner. It's what you hope to achieve, and ultimately, what through that achievement, how that's helping to advance your mission forward. Like that's it at the end of the day for me.
Okay. Well, then let's go a little bit, let's peel the onion back on that a little bit. So how, and this, I'll maybe transition to Emma. How would you say, for those outcomes, how does Blackbaud help customers achieve those outcomes? What are some of the ways that Blackbaud helps them do that?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. So we have a global customer success center of excellence, and that is the sole purpose of that organization is to help you guys, all of our customers, to get the most value out of their solutions and services and work towards achieving their outcomes. It is literally the mission statement of the customer success organization to put the customer at the center of everything we do. We have a couple of areas where we really focus on to try to hone in on this. One of them is making sure that you get value as quickly as possible, either when you purchase a new solution or if you adopt new functionality, we want to make sure that you're immediately getting in there and being able to use it. We want to make sure that as you as an organization continue to grow and change and mature, that we're continuing to stay with you and that you continue to get value all along the way. And we also want to make sure that you have the right solution. So that's always something that we're mindful of. There are a couple of specific ways that we do this. One is, like, first and foremost, we just want to have a relationship with you. The customer success team works directly with all of you, our customers, and we want to get to know you, understand where you're coming from, understand what your goals are and what your desired outcomes are. We take that information and work with you on creating a success plan, which is where we basically create a roadmap for you and say, okay, here are your outcomes. How can Blackbaud support you in reaching those outcomes? And then we're also a resource. We provide resources for you, but we can, as the customer success organization, we can also literally be a resource and help giving you advice and guidance along the way.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. If we then take the concept of achieving outcomes, we've talked a little bit about how Blackbaud does it, but we want to start thinking about there's 1,900 plus people here, and we're here to talk about code, low code. Brandon, question for you: what role do developers or low code individuals play in outcomes?
Yeah, good question, Andy. I mean, we're all part of the ecosystem of good. So as a technical community, we are stakeholders at the table. As developers, whether it's low code, pro code, high code, mid guard, woe code. Seen a lot of woe code. Any kind of code, and it's really a question of any tool. Right? Code is just a tool. Whatever type of developers we have, or business analysts out there, or database administrators, or report designers, or SQL experts, or technologists, or innovators, anybody really, right? What you want is you want the what you create, you want to be focused on achieving those outcomes, and achieving the outcomes for your customers, whether that's external customers, so customers outside your organization, or the internal customers you serve internally, right? That represent the business side. I think the key is you don't want technology for technology's sake. You want technology that is used and focused on making the achievement of those outcomes a possibility, right? It's driving towards that.
Okay, great. So if we take this a step further, so individuals are thinking about their outcomes, they're achieving outcomes, but if they want to, have a bigger or broader impact, maybe I'm going to transition to you, Liz. How can individuals amplify that outcome impact? Do they have to solve all these outcomes themselves?
Yeah, it's a big job. No, I'm kidding. Of course not. I mean, I think even looking at the number of attendees we have today, we have 476 people online. I think, this is about a community effort. I think, Brandon was just calling out the low code, no code type solutions. I built my first app in, I think, 2019, and I feel like if I can do it, really anyone can do it. But there's this kind of democratization effort that's happening in technology, and it's so exciting because it really allows for even more community, even more collaboration. And so whether it's drawing upon a Blackbaud solution to achieve the impact that the organization has defined, if you want to pull in a partner solution to extend and get more specialized in a place where simply Blackbaud solutions can't reach. And, we love working with our partners as well, or posting in the marketplace and democratizing a solution. I think that there's so many avenues for collaboration. And I would say that acceleration is really moving forward as we see communities like this one come together to learn and share and really expand and accelerate on what we're learning as we go along.
Okay, thank you. So we're working on outcomes, individuals are working on outcomes, partners are working on outcomes. So Dan, how do we all know if we're being successful together?
Yeah, I mean, it's critically important, and how we can always better manage. And it's something we're thinking intently at Blackbaud about, continually improving how we're measuring and demonstrating actually how we're helping our customers to achieve their outcomes. And we can do new things leveraging the cloud so that actually we can better guide our customers, both in terms of adopting the capabilities that help customers be successful and understanding the impact that's actually having on those top level organization goals. And we also know that you as customers, you will have your internal stakeholders where it's important to manage and to measure and to demonstrate the outcomes you're driving to your internal stakeholders. So what difference did that app make, that integration make, that customization make? And ultimately, it's a team sport. The more our entire ecosystem can collectively measure those outcomes and of course share them as best practices, as case studies, as benchmarks for each other, then we're going to be able to elevate and really truly amplify the positive impact that our investments are making towards driving that social impact. And ultimately, that really is truly going to enable us to drive more social good across the world. And I remember back to an example many years ago when I worked in university development, and we noted at the time that a lot of our alumni were engaging through university libraries, right? They were continuing to visit them regularly, they had access. And so we actually spent some time developing an integration between our library system and our advancement CRM. And with a bit of fortune, the week that integration went live, we actually had our annual fund appeals. We ran a segmented annual fund appeal and targeted one of those segments at the alumni for the libraries campaign. And actually, it was the best performing segment in the whole of the appeal. It raised tens of thousands of pounds and actually paid for that investment in that development several times over within just 3 weeks. And it was a great insight for me, both for the incredible power of developers to drive measurable impact, and also the importance of success fuels more investment. We leverage that to then be able to go do the next thing to drive more. So I guess an ask I would make to everyone on this call is every time you have success, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love for you to share and amplify that story in the community.
Excellent. And I would add on top of that as we are thinking so much about outcomes, that what we're going to start to see in the various product lines over time are some of these outcomes making their way into a more first-class way, so that you can actually see how you are doing with some of these outcomes. I think that's where a lot of this is going, and we're all on a journey together towards that future. Excellent. Well, thank you all very much for stopping by, for participating in the panel. I'm going to free all of you except for Brandon. I still need you, Brandon. But everyone else, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
A new experience for some of you off the grid. So I want to pass this off to Brandon, who's going to tell us about what this looks like this year.
All right. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, so off the grid and innovation grants are a real representation of the Blackbaud developer conference. 11 years ago, this is my 10th or 11th in a row. I always forget. And it was created on a foundation of innovation, experimentation, and collaboration. That's still very much here today. They've always been an integral part of the DNA for BB Dev Days and will be forever. And we continue to look at the sort of shared focus of Blackbaud, our customers, and our partners coming together worldwide as a community of developers in the ecosystem of good, and we're doing all that to help each other change the world for the better, and it's phenomenal. Our innovation grants are a way that we have of recognizing the invaluable part that the entire community plays in a successful ecosystem. And it's always so inspiring for those of us here internal at Blackbaud to kind of get this vision to what's going on out there, and to see the resourcefulness, the ingenuity, frankly, the winners. We've got them on here, and you'll be hearing from them again a little bit later in our conference. We've got Nicole, we've got Jesse, we've got Alex, we've got Haley, and we've got Carrie. They all did some really phenomenal things. And I also want to call out that we had them partner with Rebecca Sundquist and Ashley Moose. I'm quite honored to say that they're colleagues of mine on my team that I work with every day. But probably the right phrasing is less honored and probably more humbled, to be really honest with you, to see just the phenomenal work that our winners from last year have done with them and with our own Heather McLean. She's a big part of helping all that along as well, and just seeing some really cool stuff. And those projects they've worked on, when we've got something ready, we'll put that out into our community forum on the Sky forum. You can go out and you can actually see it and make usage of it. You can see what other people are doing, not just those winners, of course, but everyone. See that community, a rising tide that really does lift all boats, and it's a great example of that. So I want to thank all of those folks again, and again, we'll be seeing them a little bit later on in the conference here. So let's talk about what the grants are for this year. We're expanding it out a little bit. Let's go ahead and go to our next slide. Yeah, here we go. So we have the Impact Award. This is the best resource, utility, library, connector, code, sample, whatever you can put together, documentation even, which has a huge amount of worth as well. That helps accelerate your impact. So that's a pretty cool one. We've got the Community Award. This is the most helpful person in the Blackbaud Sky developer community, selected by last year's winner. Off the grid, so this will be, we'll talk about this in just a little bit, but the best concept for a generative AI project or another accelerator at Off the Grid that we'll be talking about, which will start in July. The Microsoft Power Platform Award, that's the best use of Microsoft Power Platform tools. And that one is kind of cool. It's going to be actually chosen by some folks at Microsoft, which should be pretty neat. All right, go to our next slide. All right, we've got 4 more here. The How's Your Data Award, the best use of business intelligence to actually drive action and impact, right? So not just a report on a piece of paper, but BI and business intelligence to actually drive real impact. Our Vision Award, we'll be voting on that one. It's the best project idea. We'll be voting on that one at our closing event in a couple days. The Marketplace Award, this one's pretty cool. It's the partner with the single app with the most 5-star reviews out of the marketplace. And then our last one is Inspire to Innovate. That's something we hand out internally to the Blackbaud staff person who rolls up their sleeves. I love that, to do more good for our customers. So those are the 8 that we have this year. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about kind of where the rubber meets the road, how to actually win one of these. So we've got 4 still open. If you are interested and appealing for one of those, create a 90-second video kind of explaining why you think you should get it. And really anytime between now and noon on Thursday, so noon on the 8th, where you upload it, it's if you look through the Event Hub, you'll see Off the Grid. We talked about the innovation grants in there, and the ones that are still open will have a link out to Gather Voices where you can go and you can upload your video. The ones that are still open are Off the Grid 2023 Award, the Microsoft Power Platform Award, again, voted on by Microsoft, which is pretty cool. How is your data award? And then the last one is our 2023 Vision Award, which we'll be voting on from sort of the top 3 on our closing ceremony on Thursday. So pretty cool. Feel free to go and out to the Event Hub, and you can see the details on how to upload those. All right, so Andy, let's go ahead and go forward, and we'll talk a little bit about Off the Grid. So before we get to our keynote speaker, just a quick word about Off the Grid. Off the Grid is an immersive, high energy immersive build experience where teams collaboratively are going to come together and bring an idea to reality. Internally at Blackbaud, we use a lot of abbreviations and acronyms and stuff. We call it OTG. OTG started off in 2011 as a 48-hour, very high energy snack, hack, and give back is what the thinking was, and it was a real innovation competition. And I really can't undersell how culturally this is to Blackbaud, especially our research, delivery, and operations group. and how much attention this gets. It's very cool. A lot of the things that come out of this make it into the products in various ways. And so this year, we're just, again, we continue to be excited to open this up to everything and everyone, and especially open it up to customers. It's going to be launching on July 18th, the 20th, by the way, and should be really cool. So, what exactly kind of does it mean to be involved in this? So, Andy, let's hit our next slide here, and you got a couple different options for participation. So, I'm actually going to, sort of talk a little bit about the choose your own adventure one first. You can just pick a project, a problem, or an area to look for value, where you can add value and just run with it. That's always, frankly, really interesting and very kind of innovative. Always kind of cool to see people come up with. But this year, especially in light of our announcement yesterday around how Blackbaud is continuing to appropriately get into AI, especially around intelligence for good, we want to talk about some AI and some generative AI. There's an accelerator for that. So teams who sign up for that using generative AI, either via Open API, the Microsoft AI Builder, to build their project. And then if you're maybe not sure exactly of getting a team together or either one of those, you can always just join the expert zone. That's another really, really critical area. You can just give technical expertise in maybe one specific location or point, or deep into one tech stack. Marketing, which is a big part of it. We want to make sure we sort of sell these and the story is appropriately told. A business perspective, or just feedback to teams participating in the track. So another really, really critical kind of portion of it as well. So all those are fantastic ways to get involved. Like I said, OTG has been a huge part of the culture here at Blackbaud for years, and continuing to be, thrilled to offer and broaden the appeal and broaden the people who can participate in it. So, Andy, that is our ways of continuing to be innovative and
Excellent.
and collaborative. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely.
So if you have ideas, get involved. Go check out some of the innovation grants you can still submit for. If you haven't checked out some of last year's winners, go check that out. And if you want to get involved with what has been a very cool experience historically with Off the Grid, Brandon just told you how, and there will be more coming on that. So thank you very much, Brandon.